Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Well, guys, our favorite Anon may still be gone, but a new Department of Defense Anon has been posting on HalfChan, and we're going to go over those drops. There is sauce. It looks like this one is legitimate. Next, we've got an update on Bill Barr. We know that he went to Italy, but he has also been speaking, apparently, with the UK, and it looks like he may soon be speaking with Australia to see about all of their roles that they played in the Spygate scandal. Also, the court has now released an previously hidden email which proves the State Department was fully aware of HRC's private email bathroom server. Then, the ICIG has also admitted that they changed the rules on whistleblowing, specifically because of this new fake Trump whistleblower. And finally, we've got a major update on the events taking place in Ukraine. Money that was funneled out of Ukraine from the IMF, and guess who was involved directly? Burisma Holdings. That's right, it ties back to Biden yet again. All right, folks, we're going to get into all this and more, and we'll be right back after a quick word from my sponsor. Imagine if you had received a personal invitation to invest $50 in Uber when it was a startup. On IPO day, you could have made $248,250. That same $50 invested in Amazon before it IPO'd could have made you over $7 million. Mike Markula was Apple's first angel investor, and on IPO day, his windfall was already up by 220,552%. But that's when Apple was only worth $1.8 billion. Think about how much Markula's net worth grew as Apple blazed a path to becoming the first $1 trillion company in U.S. history. And without him, iPhones, Apple Watches, iPads, and other devices we use in our daily lives may have never been invented. Look at these surprising returns from these popular startup companies. Some earning 583,264% revenue surges. What would you rather be? The angel investor or the IPO investor? The choice is clear as day. How would you feel if you could lock in a ground floor opportunity in the hottest startups this year that everybody's fighting over? Fortunately, Shark Tank's Robert Herjavec and his team of ultra-successful angel investors are here to help deliver angel deals with life-changing upsides delivered to you on a silver platter. Watch the free video at www.getangelrich.com or click the link in the description to see how you can participate in these potentially lucrative deals before the mainstream even finds out about them. Once again, that's www.getangelrich.com. All right, guys, thank you for sticking around. First off today, HalfChan DOD Anon drop. Starts out, it says, last week at work, I traced a massive subcontractor's mysterious source to someone who is currently running for president. Now, this is the Anon themselves speaking. The company produces nothing. I found it because we gained access to an area of this company that no one has been given access to before by a new employee not fully in the know. What we found were 165 items, each individually valued at over $1 million, missing, all ordered in Q1 of 2019. Now, this is apparently an auditor for the Department of Defense. Our audit further led us to investigate quietly and trace back over $10 billion of undelivered but paid for Navy equipment and materials, and it all goes back through the same subcontractor. The subcontractor is fully owned by a shell company which shares a physical location with it, but with two different street addresses, which are actually on two different streets because it's a corner facility. Very smart. During this process of tracking the missing items, we went to the subcontractor's facility to find it, and it's completely empty. The two companies have a single office with some desks in it and over 400,000 square feet of empty warehouse in the middle of nowhere, West Georgia. Further tracking the shell company, we found out that it's owned by another shell company, which is in turn owned by a company which owns 5 luxury car dealerships, a Big 4 professional American sports franchise, a very liberal movie studio, all of which have been noted as being unprofitable, and this single Navy contractor. The family that owns this company has a current senator and a current presidential candidate in it. Tomorrow, we will be going public with this information. And now, ETA, it says, of course, the Anons were asking for proof. He sent 2 photos, then a third in the order below. So this first photo right here, let's take a look. It looks like the back of a badge, and that says Department of Defense on the back there. And then right here, it says Defense Contract Audit Agency. I would imagine this is from their lanyard that they hang the badge on. And then the third one, they asked him to write half Chan on it, and he put the bread number right there. Now, to save some non-relative chit-chat, this is basically the first thing they said as far as what it concerns. Because it doesn't just involve a good chunk of our defense budget going directly into the pockets of super commies, it also involves the big four sports being fake and controlled by liberals. People are going to lose it. If you think movies and TV shows keep mentally unstable people from losing it, sports keep large, mentally unstable men from losing it. I'm also going to give you what is basically the one conclusion that has been discovered, so you know where it is going. I will add the smaller details to how we got there as I go on. Amy Klobuchar, she would be the presidential candidate. Pollad's family, PAR Systems, DOD contractor companies, Jared LLC, empty Brunswick, Georgia warehouse with missing inventory. Pollad's runs River Rock Entertainment. They made Brokeback Mountain and 12 Years a Slave. Pollad's owns the Minnesota Twins, and Pollad's financed Hillary Clinton. Here is an article backing that up. And Chris Pollad's works for Amy Klobuchar. The Pollad son, Christopher, graduated from Puget Sound with a major in politics and government in 2007. Christopher Pollad currently lives in Washington, D.C., and is on the staff of senior U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota. PAR Marine Services, 500 Bishop Street in Brunswick, Georgia. That is one corner of the building. The other corner is Jared LLC, 3000 Sidney Lanier Drive, also in Brunswick, Georgia. Bam, they are on the same dot on Google Maps. Jared LLC, Jared Industries started its walk in maritime construction in Detroit, Michigan as a general engineering firm servicing commercial and government markets. As the company grew, a major portion of the projects undertaken were in the marine field, particularly with the U.S. Navy. PAR Marine is itself a shell company, and looks like they own these companies. And ETA, some comments from the Anon. He said, I literally work for the same agency as the incident in Vegas in October of 2017. Doesn't audit taxes. I audit the contracts themselves. Question, he asks. Would anyone like to know what the two factions will be in this coming civil war? Would anyone at least like to know who you will be fighting for or against? Well, the answer, it will be between the English and the Americans. Roughly 80 English families have been siphoning off roughly half of America's taxpayer dollars since income tax was re-implemented. We have direct proof that America is literally being run by the direct descendant of the English appointed governors, and their families have been using our tax money as play money. The unions will join the English, all of the unions. The Americans will be the Americans. It's amazing how much good art can cost, and the price just can't be paid in money. Art is something that we've been told to look at before. Most of the Navy budget is going directly into the pockets of the Queen's finest. The English royalty is actually ethnically Germans currently. There's literally an agency called the Defense Contract Audit Agency, which is where this Anon works. And the Anon starts stressing things come in twos. So the Anon starts stressing that things come in twos. It says things happen in twos a lot. There's a picture here from 12 Years a Slave. Says things come in twos, Brokeback Mountain. Anon is questioned about the Brokeback Mountain, and 12 Years a Slave. Is this the studio you referenced earlier? Now, DOD Anon replies with this picture. That looks like a yes to me. And then in regards to the movie studio again, he drops this picture. Also, pointing to this statement that Klobuchar wrote a book on the HHH Metrodome, which is where the Twins played, also noting that her father was a paid person talking about the Minnesota Twins, and she was AG for Hennepin County, where Minneapolis was. Undoubtedly, she has ties to the systems and the Pollads for years now. Also dropping this picture. Now, a regular Anon added this dig. Sarah Casey Wood and Christopher Robert Pollad were married Saturday at the Our Lady of Good Voyage Chapel in Roche Harbor on San Juan Island in Washington State. The Reverend Ralph J. Goman, a Roman Catholic priest, performed the ceremony. Mrs. Pollad, 30, is also known as Casey. She is the legislative assistant for education and housing policy in the Washington office of Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota. The bride graduated from the University of South Carolina and received a master's in public policy from Georgia Tech. A regular Anon dug this up in relation to the fighting of the English and also Brunswick, Georgia. Interesting tidbit about Brunswick, Georgia. Founded as Brunswick after the German Duchy of Brunswick-Lüneburg, the ancestral home of the House of Hanover. British royal family was actually descended from the House of Hanover, beginning with George I. It was under his grandson George III that the U.S. fought for independence. DOD Anon commented on this as well, and he says 80 families, Anon. There are 80 families left. So based on these drops, it looks like the Department of Defense is in the midst of auditing companies that are taking advantage of the system and funneling money out. This Anon says that it is being funneled to the British royal family. It is connected to Amy Klobuchar and these shell companies, which are owned by people who are connected to her. Very, very interesting. Lots of tidbits in here. I highly suggest you guys go and check it out yourself. Like I said, there is sauce in this. The Defense Contract Audit Agency, I'm sure, does not hand out badges and lanyards without somebody actually working there. Now, what's the most interesting to me is him saying that there is going to be a war between the British and the Americans, and it looks like it could be fought over this funneling of taxpayer dollars. So basically, keep your head on a swivel, guys, and if you get any more information on this, please do let me know about it. All right, now part 2 is soon to be coming. If you guys want to check this out and actually go to HalfChan and see it for yourself, this link will be in the description below. I'll be following up on the rest of this story tomorrow. All right, from the Gateway Pundit, it's happening. Attorney General Bill Barr asks foreign intelligence officials for help with the Spygate probe. It was previously reported that U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr traveled to Italy on Friday on official business to speak with Italian officials. According to a new report by the Washington Compost, AG Bill Barr held private meetings overseas with foreign intelligence officials asking for their help in the Justice Department's Spygate probe. The criminal Obama administration unleashed foreign governments to spy on Donald Trump's 2016 campaign. But now that Trump, as president of the United States, is directing his attorney general to meet with those foreign leaders in order to expose Barry's corrupt Spygate operation, the Dems want his head on a platter. Attorney General Bill Barr held private meetings overseas with foreign intelligence officials seeking their help in a Justice Department inquiry that President Trump hopes will discredit U.S. intelligence agencies' examination of Russian interference in the 2016 election, and that's according to people familiar with the matter. The direct involvement of the nation's top law enforcement official shows the priority Bill Barr places on the investigation being conducted by John Durham, the U.S. Attorney in Connecticut, who has been assigned the sensitive task of reviewing U.S. intelligence work surrounding the 2016 election and its aftermath. Barr has already made overtures to British intelligence officials, and last week the Attorney General traveled to Italy, where he and Durham together met senior Italian government officials, and Barr asked the Italians to assist Durham, according to one person familiar with the matter. It was not Barr's first trip to Italy to meet intelligence officials, the person said. The Trump administration has made similar requests of Australia. As previously noted, there are suggestions that Italian officials were working with the U.S. deep state in 2016 to set up Trump campaign officials. If you guys are not aware of that story, please go and check my reporting on Giulio Occhianero and the information he brought out. It was extremely interesting. Candidate Trump's unpaid foreign policy advisor, George Papadopoulos, was spied on by the deep state through a Maltese professor named Joseph Mifsud. Mifsud's purpose was to plant information with Papadopoulos, namely that the Russians had Hillary's emails, so that the same information could be retrieved from Papadopoulos and the deep state could say that the Trump campaign knew Russia had Hillary's emails. The fake news narrative claims Papadopoulos then bragged to Australian diplomat Alexander Downer that he heard the Russians had dirt on Clinton. Downer then shared this information from Papadopoulos with fellow Australian officials. Attorney General Bill Barr and U.S. Attorney John Durham traveled to Italy to meet with Italian government officials on Friday, and according to WAPO, Barr asked the Italians to assist Durham. No wonder why the deep state Democrat media complex is going crazy with leaks and impeachment hearings. They fear AG Bill Barr and Durham will finally hold the coup plotters accountable, and that is exactly what I believe is happening. So we've got Barr going to Italy, the UK, and potentially very soon Australia. At least Donald Trump has asked the new Australian Prime Minister for help. Also, the same thing with the Ukraine. He's got Rudy going over to Ukraine. So this is now, we're approaching all of the countries that were involved in the Spygate scandal, and now they are all cooperating. John Durham is going to get to the bottom of this, And mark my words, the coup plotters will be held accountable, thanks not only to Attorney General Bill Barr, but U.S. Attorney John Durham. Keep your eyes open. Now, speaking of Hillary's emails, the court has forced a release of previously hidden email that confirms State Department knew about Hillary Clinton's private email account, the server that she maintained in her bathroom in her Pkwy home. Conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch on Monday announced the State Department has released a previously hidden email that shows the State Department was fully aware of Hillary Clinton's private email account. The email provided to Judicial Watch shows State Department officials not only knew about Hillary's private email, they also used it to communicate with Hillary Clinton while she was the head of the Department of State. A top State Department official admitted that Hillary didn't want a lot of people to know about her private email and said she guards it pretty closely. Recall, it was Judicial Watch who blew the story wide open about Hillary Clinton's private server back in 2015, and the watchdog group has been aggressively pursuing Hillary's lost emails ever since. Now, from Judicial Watch announced today that the State Department provided a previously hidden email which shows that top State Department officials used and were aware of Hillary Clinton's email account. On December 24, 2010, Daniel Baer, an Obama State Department Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, writes to Michael Posner, a then Assistant Secretary of State, about Clinton's private email address. Baer says, "Be careful, you just gave the Secretary's personal email address to a bunch of folks." Posner answers, "Should I say don't forward? Did not notice." Baer responds, "Yeah, I just know that she guards it pretty closely." Mr. Posner had forwarded Clinton's email address, which was contained in an email sent to the State Department senior leadership about WL, the famous journalistic organization that has leaked many, many documents. It appears the State Department produced this email in 2016 in redacted form, blacking out Clinton's personal email and the discussion about Clinton's wanting to keep her email address closely guarded. Hillary Clinton used a private email account to conduct official government business while she was Secretary of State in order to hide her Clinton Foundation pay-to-play scheme. Clinton and her aides then used BleachBit to scrub 33,000 emails and took hammers to her Blackberries, which were all under subpoena, in order to conceal her pay-to-play and the fact that she was transmitting classified information over a private server, which is against the law. Judge Royce Lamberth granted Judicial Watch several depositions and interrogatories related to Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server and called her email system one of the gravest modern offenses to government transparency. Judicial Watch previously sought a deposition from Clinton, and last month the court gave the watchdog group additional discovery and witnesses on that Clinton email case. The judge wanted Judicial Watch to shake the tree on a newly uncovered potential email trove from Clinton and gave Hillary 30 days to oppose their request to question her under oath. Hillary Clinton's lawyers responded to Judicial Watch late last Monday evening and sought to withhold a 6-page memo describing her attorney's deletion of her emails. "No wonder why Mrs. Clinton doesn't want to be deposed," Judicial Watch boss Tom Fitton said on Monday after discovering the hidden State Department email revealing another cover-up. Judicial Watch just caught the State Department and DOJ red-handed in another email cover-up, and they all knew about the Clinton email account, but covered up the smoking gun email showing the guilty knowledge for years. Let's go ahead and take a look at this clip from Judicial Watch.
And thankfully, a federal court agrees with Judicial Watch that there are questions that need to be answered. And he granted us the ability to get discovery, both initially in December of last year, and then when we found even more questions about the Hillary Clinton email cover-up, he granted us the ability to get even more discovery. And more witnesses have come in.
I just want to say thank you so much to Big Gun Tom Fitton and all the folks at Judicial Watch. They are bringing this information to light, and without them, we would likely have absolutely no idea about this stuff. We'd have lots of theories, but with Judicial Watch, they are bringing forth proof. Like he said, it's no wonder that Hillary Clinton does not want anybody to know about what she did, because it's clear that she broke the law. And we have holdovers in the government and in the federal government, in the judicial system, in the State Department, that are all covering for her and have been trying for so long. Thank you, God, for Judge Royce Lamberth for allowing this discovery in this case. And I know that more information will be forthcoming very soon. So another story we must keep our eyes on, because this is not going away anytime soon, despite what Hillary Clinton wants. Just absolutely unbelievable. The ICIG has admitted that it changed its whistleblower rules because of this anti-Trump complaint. The deep state ICIG released a statement on Monday addressing why they found it necessary to change the rules last month to include water cooler talk, rumors, hearsay, and cafeteria conversations. Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson released a statement on Monday addressing the changes. In the letter, Atkinson admitted the changes to the form were made at the time of the partisan Clowns in America leakers complaint. The ICIG also admitted that it changed its own whistleblower rules because of the anti-Trump complaint from that clown spy. In June 2019, the newly hired director for the Center for Protected Disclosures entered on duty. Thus, the Center for Protected Disclosures has been reviewing the forms provided to whistleblowers who wish to report information with respect to an urgent concern to the Congressional Intelligence Committees. In the process of reviewing and clarifying those forms, and in response to recent press inquiries regarding the instant whistleblower complaint, the ICIG understood that certain language in those forms, and more specifically, the informational materials accompanying the forms, could be read incorrectly, as suggesting that whistleblowers must possess first-hand information in order to file an urgent concern complaint with the Congressional Intelligence Committees. As Conservative Treehouse notes, the changes were made at the same time Representative Adam Schiff was accusing President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and holding back funding pending assistance with political opponents. This was already found to be a lie. And here is that tweet that we went over yesterday from little leaking liar Adam Schiff. So now any anonymous deep state spy can file a whistleblower complaint against the president based on hearsay and gossip and hide behind anonymity because of the Whistleblower Protection Act. CBS News 60 Minutes reported Sunday night that the anti-Trump whistleblower whose complaint sparked the impeachment probe against President Trump is under federal protection, according to a reading of a letter sent by one of the whistleblower's attorneys, Andrew Pkwy, also connected to the clowns. President Trump confirmed on Monday to reporters that the White House is trying to find out the identity of the clown spy who filed a whistleblower complaint against him about his phone call to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The president on Monday morning also demanded to know who changed the whistleblower rules shortly before the deep state spy filed a complaint. Meanwhile, in a coordinated attack against President Trump, former Clowns in America chief John Brennan called for an unlimited number of deep state spies to file whistleblower complaints against Trump. Now, it's just completely obvious here that these people are grasping at straws. They are trying to set up as many ways as possible for the president to go down. They are so worried about him winning in 2020. This is clearly a baseless complaint, and it's funny to me that they are willing to protect someone in this situation, but they have not been willing to protect their own agents in past situations. It just goes to show the double-handed nature of the intelligence agencies. They do what they want when they want, and these agencies must be gutted and completely overhauled from the ground up. I think that's what they're most worried about. President Trump gave that speech at the Clowns in America when he first became president, and he said he was going to tear down their house and build them a new one without any columns, talking about the idea of the fifth column. That is truly what the Clowns in America are at this point. They are trying to take over the United States from the inside, and if it wasn't for President Trump, it would have already happened. Some would say it happened many years ago, and I basically think that that's pretty close to the truth. But the fact that President Trump is in office and that we, the people, put him there, I think that this still goes to show that we have the chance of taking America back and getting our liberty and our country back on track. And in things that will only happen in Red October, Methods gave this nice little tidbit. Vatican police raided the offices of the Holy See's Secretariat of State and its Financial Information Authority on Tuesday and took away documents and electronic devices. Wow, let's take a look at this article. Vatican police raided the office of the Holy See's Secretariat of State and its Financial Information Authority on Tuesday. The operation is highly unusual because the Secretariat of State is the nerve center of the Vatican bureaucracy and diplomacy, and the AIF is the financial controller of all Vatican departments. The Vatican statement gave no details except to say that the operation was a follow-up to complaints filed in the summer by the Vatican Bank and the Office of the Auditor General and related to financial operations carried out over the course of time. A senior Vatican source said he believed the operation, which the statement said had been authorized by Vatican prosecutors, had to do with real estate transactions. The statement said superiors of the departments had been informed of the operation. Now, we have been told before that the real estate operation of the Vatican pulls in more money than anything else. They own real estate all over the globe. And this is an excellent method for money laundering. So the fact that they're going after this particular office, which is controlling all of it, and the fact that they're saying that it has to do with financial operations carried out over time, this could be a major operation exposing corruption that has been taking place for literally hundreds of years. We're going to have to keep our eye on this and continue to watch, but this is a big story. And finally, it would not be a news day without touching once again on the Ukrainian scandal involving the Bidens. Ukraine Burisma story is massive. It involves billions of IMF and U.S. funds looted and lost by bank connected to Burisma Holdings. The Biden and now Kerry scandal in the Ukraine is much more than about the money paid to Hunter Biden for being a board member at the largest gas provider in the Ukraine, Burisma Holdings. The real scandal involves billions in funds from the IMF and U.S. in aid that has gone missing. Remember, we were told that these aid programs were all scams. Burisma, Ukraine's largest gas and oil provider, has been the subject of many recent news articles because of its scandalous, close-knit ties with President Barry's Vice President Biden and Secretary of State John Kerry. Yes, Kerry is involved here too. A controlling shareholder of Burisma is believed to be held by an entity called Privat Group. The Privat Group, or Privat Bank Group, is a global business group based in Ukraine. Privat Group controls thousands of companies of virtually every industry in Ukraine, the European Union, Georgia, Ghana, Russia, the United States, and other countries. Steel, oil, and gas, chemical, and energy are sectors of the group's prime influence and expertise. None of the group's capital is publicly traded on any stock exchange. Privat Group is controlled by Ukraine's largest commercial bank, Privat Bank, whose owner was Igor Kolomoisky. Privat Bank was later nationalized by the Ukraine in December of 2016, taking 100% control of the Privat Bank entity a month after the 2016 U.S. election. And right here is a picture of Igor himself. Now, according to reports, Ihor Valerievich Komolinsky is a Ukrainian Jewish billionaire, business oligarch, and the former governor of Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Kolomoisky is rated as the second or third richest person in Ukraine since 2006, and 377th richest person in the world, according to the Forbes magazine list of billionaires. Before the Orange Revolution, Privat Group had been widely regarded as relatively uninvolved in politics, but loyal to the Leonid Kuchma regime. After the government changed, the group's owners, according to media, became close allies of Yulia Tymoshenko, although she publicly denies this. Analysts agree that some of Tymoshenko's decisions as the Prime Minister of Ukraine supported Privat's side in conflicts. Some sources state that Privat Group provided significant financial support for Viktor Yushchenko during his presidential campaign and subsequent Orange Revolution. As noted in prior posts, Kolomoisky purchased a private military consisting of mainly military and police forces who were also employed by the Ukrainian government. Kolomoisky is credited with stopping the forward progression of Russian separatists via the use of his private military. The International Financial Agency had rushed the money to Ukraine in April in response to what IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde called a major crisis. She went on to hail the government's unprecedented resolve in developing a bold economic program to secure macroeconomic and financial stability. Over the next 5 months, the international agency poured the equivalent of $4.51 billion into the National Bank of Ukraine, the country's central bank. Much of this money was urgently needed to prop up the local commercial banks. In theory, the IMF appeared to require direct supervision of how the Ukrainian banks used the aid. In fact, it appears that the banks got to select their own auditors. Kolomoisky's bank, Privat Bank, is later revealed to be a recipient of billions of dollars of IMF funds. Kolomoisky is believed to have looted those funds. At one point in time, Kolomoisky had been placed on a U.S. government visa ban list due to his questionable business practices. However, shortly after Archer Devon and Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma, that ban was mysteriously lifted, and there has been no investigation into these missing funds. Where are the billions of dollars that went missing in the Ukraine? What do Barry, Biden, and Kerry and their children know about where the money is, and are they connected? All very, very compelling questions and things that I think need to be answered. I think that that's probably a lot to do with why Biden is freaking out anytime he gets asked about this in the public eye. This could be very, very bad for Kerry, for Biden, and for anyone else involved in this. So not only do we have this money being funneled out, and clearly given to this Ukrainian oligarch. But we also learned yesterday that many, many millions of dollars were also funneled into Hillary Clinton and her efforts to become president of the United States. She was being propped up essentially by the Ukrainian government, and they provided a lot of information in terms of the dirty dossier that was written by Christopher Steele, and also the information that convicted Paul Manafort. So I really think that we are on a good track here. I think that things are very, very much heating up. And there's one more post that I wanted to show you in regards to things heating up here in October. All right, and finally here, a tweet from Outlaw Josie Wales on Twitter. Just a reminder, Red October starts today. That's right, October 1st. Buckle up, Patriots. If we are looking at a reverse timeline with the posts, then this should be Red October. And that might mean by the end of the month, we may see HRC in handcuffs. Comfy does not begin to describe it, guys. With everything going on in the news right now, I think it's quite obvious that things are heating up as never before. We have actual scandals of crimes committed by the left being reported in the mainstream media. We have Attorney General Bill Barr and U.S. Attorney John Durham, who is investigating the Spygate scandal, going overseas to speak directly with the new intelligence heads in the Five Eyes countries who previously colluded with the last administration to take down President Trump. We also have the intelligence community on the run. They are changing the rules and trying to stop this from coming. But guess what? This D5 avalanche will not be stopped. All right, guys, that is all that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. I just wanted to say once again, thank you very much for supporting my channel. If you want to, there are links in the description of this video below for several different ways that you can help out. Also, don't forget that when you support my sponsors, you are supporting the channel. Without them, I would not be able to keep doing the work that I'm doing. Also, if you are not already, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and that you click that notification bell to make sure that you get notifications every time that I do put a video out. And you can also follow me on Twitter at RedPill78. So thanks again, you guys, and I'll see you next time.